The NBA season finally kicks off October 18th, 2022, and we are all hyped. We have been waiting for this fascinating offseason to conclude and this regular season with no real finals favorites, no real team that says, yeah, they're going to win, like the Kevin Durant Warriors or we thought the Lakers or the Nets. There's no clear-cut favorite. Everybody is in a very good A-, B+ kind of tier, and we're all hyped to see how this year plays out. Let's start off with the award predictions that we think is going to happen this year. And looking at some of these MVP odds, they always have Luka Doncic because every single year we think Luka Doncic is going to take that next step, elevate his game, and become God. And then he never does. He always comes in out of shape. He always gets a little too ball dominant, shoots super inefficiently. He's like a 33% three-point shooter, a 60 to 70% free throw shooter. His inefficiency isn't there. He's not a great defender, and his out of shapeness has always been an issue. There's pictures that have been floating around since God, I don't know, June, July, that he's finally in shape. He's playing for the Serbian team, blah, blah, blah. Well, fool me once, shame on you. I think Luka Doncic is once again going to be not a disappointment, but not be MVP of the league like we always think that he's going to be. Giannis is the next on the list just because Giannis is such a monster. But I have Joel Embiid taking a step this year, taking that fuck you for taking Nikola Jokic 2 years in a row over me, best player in the NBA sort of rage, sort of passion that these MVPs come out with. I think this is going to be a ridiculous year for Joel Embiid. I think he's going to be a monster on the offensive end as he always is, but I think he's going to be even better on the defensive end as well. He's going to have cohesion, a full offseason with James Harden. Tyrese Maxey's coming along on his own, so he doesn't have to always be that dude, but at the same time, I also have Joel Embiid as the best player in the NBA, two-way because he plays defense, which Nikola Jokic cannot, as well as offensively. I just love everything about Embiid. I think this is going to be a breakout year. He's my MVP candidate. Most improved player, and it's kind of tough. This is the who's going to break out and have a really good year. They kind of showed some flashes here and there last season, and this year they take that next step. You could say Jordan Poole. You could say Tyrese Halliburton, Zion Williamson. I don't think that makes sense. He's a #1 overall pick. Anthony Edwards. There's a whole bunch of possible candidates. I have Jalen Green because he didn't get the respect he deserved at the end of the year. A lot of people have this in their head that Jalen Green was a bust last year for some reason, even though he was dropping buckets. He was playing great for the Rockets. The Rockets were just a bad team. He was really bad to start the season. Everybody wrote him off. And then by the time he started playing well, nobody gave a crap because the Rockets were such a bad team. Jalen Green, I think, is going to drop 20 plus points per game this season. He's going to bring along the rookie Jabari Smith. He and Kevin Porter Jr. are going to form a lethal dynamic backcourt. And then with Jabari Smith, Alper and Şengün, and whoever they play at the three, Jayshawn Tate, whatever, the Rockets are going to be a little bit better than everybody thinks. Jalen Green is going to be a dog, and he's going to continue to show that impressive progression that he's been showing basically the entire second half of last season that went completely unnoticed. As for Rookie of the Year, pretty straightforward. Paulo Banchero, #1 overall pick. Now, there are players that I like more, Jabari Smith, Jaden Ivey, but I like them down the road. Dyson Daniels even, Shadon Sharp. These players I like 5-10 years from now. Paulo Banchero right now is a bucket getter. He's the best player of the class day one. He's going to be probably the best player of the class by year two. I think 5-10 years down the road, then we're going to have some discussions. Who would you rather have, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, or maybe Ben Mathurin, whoever comes out of this class looking like a surprise sleeper pick. But Paulo Banchero, the obvious Rookie of the Year. Second best chance is probably going to be Keegan Murray just because he's already a bucket getter. He's almost a finished product, 21, 22 years old. Going to be on the Kings, though. It's going to struggle to get touches. I think Paulo Banchero is just the runaway favorite with good reason. As for the Defensive Player of the Year winner, it's a tough one. There's always the bigs, Rudy Gobert, Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid, to a lesser extent, Anthony Davis. Those guys are always in the running. You have your point guard and Marcus Smart, who's a sleeper favorite. Draymond Green always in the mix, and then the forwards, Mikal Bridges, Robert Williams, Giannis, whatever you want to qualify him as, a forward, a center, whatever. I'm going to say Mikal Bridges as the best perimeter defender in the NBA gets the recognition that he deserved because I think last year he should have been Defensive Player of the Year and nobody really cared. So I think this year he takes a step up. He gets the recognition. I got Mikal Bridges as my Defensive Player of the Year winner, whatever. Rudy Gobert could probably win. Rudy Gobert will probably win just because, you know, he's Rudy Gobert. As for Sixth Man of the Year, no surprise, it's probably going to be Jordan Poole. He may even be a starter more often than not. So maybe Klay Thompson is the Sixth Man of the Year. But Christian Wood doesn't make a lot of sense to me. He's probably going to be in the starting lineup somewhere midway through the season just because he's that good. And the center power forward depth for the Dallas Mavericks isn't great. Tyler Hero, he's going to be a starter, so this doesn't make sense. Norman Powell, really, is he going to be my Sixth Man of the Year? maybe Bones Highland, maybe Malcolm Brogdon. But even then, I think those guys maybe should be starting on their respective teams as well. So Jordan Poole, no surprise, going to be my sixth man of the year candidate. And lastly, for coach of the year, and it's going to be tough because I always think that Ty Lue needs to be coach of the year. I think he does the best job with the players and the roster that he's been provided. So every single year that Ty Lue isn't coach of the year, I'm disappointed because he probably should have been coach of the year. The other option I think is JB Bickerstaff, who probably should have won it last year, but he didn't. I already forgot who won last year's coach of the year award because it's not really that important of an award. Steve Kerr always makes a lot of sense. Chris Finch definitely should be in the consideration as well if the Timberwolves take that next step up, which I don't think they will. But if they do, Chris Finch will be deserving. But the Cavs, everybody counted out last year. Everybody said, they're just rebuilding. They're continuing to rebuild. And all of a sudden, with JB Bickerstaff's help alongside Darius Garland's incredible progression, Evan Mobley balling out, Jared Allen really improving, becoming an all-star. Holy crap, the Cavaliers are contenders. So I think either Ty Lue or JB Bickerstaff should be coach of the year for this upcoming season. And as for the all NBA awards, I'm only going to do the first team. I'm going to have Steph Curry as the point guard, Luka Doncic as the other guard. Forwards, I'm going to have Kevin Durant. I think he's going to come back with a vengeance this year, and I think he's going to have like a 40% usage rate. Giannis is always there, and like I said, Joel Embiid is the best player in the NBA, the best center in the NBA, and he's going to win the MVP this year. Those are the awards for 2023. Now let's go on to how the actual regular season is going to play out. So we'll start with the Western Conference. I have the Warriors not only as the best team in the Western Conference, but the best team in the NBA. Now it's not the top end talent. They don't have Kevin Durant anymore. They don't have a Giannis to pair up alongside Steph Curry. And I think Steph Curry is just a tick, just a smidge talent-wise below those other guys because he's just not as tall. Obviously a better shooter, obviously a sharpshooter. But if you want to talk about 2K ratings, I got Steph Curry at like a 96. And then I got Joel Embiid and Giannis at like a 97, if that makes sense. So it's not that he's, horrible, but he's right there. He needs friends to come along for the ride. And the Warriors have a deep team. Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman might be coming back, and he was the number 2 overall pick for a reason. The dude looks like a monster when he's healthy. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, of course, Steve Kerr leading the way. This team is stacked. I think the Warriors are deep. I think the Warriors are strong, and I think they're going to be legitimate title contenders. Again, we've been saying that for the last, 10 years, it feels like. Number 2 in the Western Conference is going to be the Clippers. Now, theoretically, when healthy, I have the Clippers as my number 2 team in the Western Conference. Theoretically, when Kawhi Leonard is healthy. Theoretically, when Paul George is healthy. I mean, come on. Most of this has to do with Ty Lue, the great organization they have, and the incredible depth that they have on their team. Every position except point guard, they go 3 deep, I feel. You can switch any one of those players, and they're going to play incredible. They're going to play great in the playoffs for you. They're going to fill that role that they need you to. As long as their freaking superstars can stay healthy. As long as Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy. Number 3 is going to be the Grizzlies. I believe they were the 2 seed last year. I think they're just going to continue to build on that success. I think there's going to be a legitimate rivalry with the Grizzlies between the Warriors and the Timberwolves. And the Grizzlies are going to be tough. I'm just worried about Ja Morant's knees. I'm a little worried. He's been starting to pick up those knicky-knack injuries. Those, oof, I got an ankle here. Oof, I got a knee here. And he just jumps so high all the time. And when you jump that high, you got to come down. Now, it's not like Zion because he doesn't weigh 350 pounds. But man, am I worried about Ja becoming Derrick Rose 2.0 in the bad way. But that said, Ja Morant, incredible player, alpha leader of the team. Great supporting cast around him. Desmond Bane came out last season. Hopefully, Jaren Jackson Jr. continues to impress. Zaire Williams, he's had a couple years under his belt in the league. Of course, Dylan Brooks, can't forget about him. Kyle Anderson is gone. Why did I mention his name? All in all, though, the Grizzlies going to be a good team this season. I got the Mavs at 4. Luka Ball still works to some extent. They played really well last year, made it to the Western Conference Finals. I think they build on that confidence, build on that success. But that said, I don't love the rest of the team after Luka Doncic. Spencer Dinwiddie, a good backup to run the 2s. And then what do you have behind him? They lost Jalen Brunson, obviously. Christian Wood, I guess, would be the next best player. Not really a fan of the rest of the team around Luka Doncic, but of course, Luka Ball. Nuggets are going to be coming in at 5, and I talked a lot about them in last year's deep dive. I love the Nuggets when they're healthy, but Jamal Murray sat out a full season and a half now with that, I believe, Achilles injury. Or was it ACL? I think it was the ACL in the bubble. It's been a long time since he played basketball. Michael Porter Jr., always prone to have something go wrong with his back. So I love the Nuggets when they're healthy. When they're healthy. Coming in with number 6 is going to be the Phoenix Suns, and I believe the Suns take a step back this season. They have the Robert Sarver issue, the team's getting sold. They have the DeAndre Ayton issue, which is multiple layers deep, from how much does he want to play basketball to how much does Monty Williams want to play him to is he ever going to grow his game beyond being a role player. It's just tough with DeAndre Ayton and what's going on in that situation. I'm falling out of love with Monty Williams at this point, and I think their window closed last year with the embarrassing Game 7 loss. I think they really take a step back this season. I think they need to assess their options, figure out what to do. Cliff Paul is getting old as dirt at this point. It's going to be a tough season for Phoenix fans, in my opinion. Of course, they're still going to be a good team, still going to be a competitive team, but I don't believe that they have this confidence, this swagger that they used to have since 2 years ago. They kind of shot out and surprised everybody being good. The Phoenix Suns were good. Pelicans are coming in at 7 for me. Unlike most fans, I'm a prove it guy. I understand all the steps forward that the Pelicans took. They've got their players, they got their stars, but prove it to me if Zion is going to be healthy. Prove it to me if Brandon Ingram is going to stay healthy. Prove it to me if CJ McCollum is going to be consistent. I love their rookies. I love the depth on this team. Dyson Daniels was probably my second favorite player of this class. They showed huge strides. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy's probably going to play much better than he did last year. Jose Alvarado, Willie Green looks like a great coach, but for now, prove it. Just because you played a weak Phoenix team to a competitive 6 games in the first round doesn't mean that much to me. And of course, is Zion going to stay healthy? Is the question with the Pelicans always. Number 8 is going to be the Blazers. The Blazers always stuck right here. What's Damian Lillard going to do? What's the rest of the team going to do? Coming in right behind them is number 9. And I got to be honest, call me a hater. I'm predicting a dumpster fire here in Minnesota. They gave up their entire future for Rudy Gobert because they saw how Cleveland Cavaliers worked rocking the double big lineup. I don't think it's going to work as well here as it will in Cleveland. Chris Finch is going to have to get very creative in developing offenses now that he's running 2 centers at the same time. The whole point of having Karl Anthony Towns being your center is because he stretches out defenses, and then they effectively took him away. He's filling what Jared Vanderbilt provided them last year, which was rebounding and defense, except at a higher level. Okay, I think they're going to have some chemistry issues. I think there's going to be a lot of problems with D'Angelo Russell as well because he struggled in the playoffs. And I'm worried about the Minnesota Timberwolves staking their claim on Rudy Gobert being the key to their future, the key to the success. That said, Anthony Edwards probably going to have a great year. Cat's always good for 20 points and 40% from the three-point line. What is the rest of the team going to give you? They lost a lot of depth acquiring Rudy Gobert. I'm worried about Minnesota. Hopefully they prove me wrong. And the Lakers coming in at 10. I'm going to bet against Bron. I think Anthony Davis is going to get hurt. I think Russell Westbrook is going to be in every single headline for the next 72 years. And I think the rest of the team doesn't fit. They're all old still. They still don't have great shooting. Yeah, they picked up Dennis Schroeder, but they got what? Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, Juan Toscano Anderson. They still don't shoot that well. So Lakers coming in at 10, the final spot of the play-in tournament. Behind them, from the outside looking in, going to be the Thunder. Now, I expect the Thunder to be good this season. I expect Josh Giddey is going to continue to impress. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going to continue to play really well, probably make an all-star game. But is Sam Presti going to say, let's tank one more year since Chet Holmgren is out and then try to be competitive next season? I never know with the Thunder. I always say they're good enough right now to take that next step, try to compete for a playoff spot. But are they willing to? Or are they going to sit out starters all the time with non-injuries just so they can get better lottery odds? Kings are coming in at 12. I really hate the roster construction of their 2 stars. Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox seem to play well off of each other, but neither of them can shoot. Domantas Sabonis kind of doesn't work in today's NBA. That's why it made no sense to me why they got rid of Tyrese Halliburton for him. He plays from the perimeter. He plays in the mid-range. He's good in the post. He's good passing at the top of the key. Okay, he doesn't play defense that well. Not ideal. De'Aaron Fox, how much effort he's going to give you. There's been signs that he's kind of been, do I want to be here? Not really. The rest of the roster, though, I really like the construction. Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Chima Monarchy, Davion Mitchell. I like the team. I like that they didn't hire Mark Jackson. They got, what's-his-face from Cleveland. I think they're going to be good, but at the same time, the Kings always struggle to do anything other than disappoint you in every single way, speaking as a former Kings fan. Coming in behind them is the Rockets, still rebuilding. I think, like I said, with Jalen Green, going to be the most improved player, in my opinion, going to ball out. Kevin Porter Jr. just got his money, and I think they're going to have a really fun season. Again, I think they're maybe a year or 2 away. Their boys just need to develop and progress. See if Jalen Green can be that dog. See if Jabari Smith can be that potential number 1. Spurs, they're just beginning the tank. The only difference between the Spurs and the Jazz is that the Spurs have 1 year of tanking under the belt while the Jazz have just started trading away basically their entire roster The Spurs do have a Keldon Johnson. They do have some potential upside, Malachi Branham, Joshua Primo, etc. But those are going to be the Western Conference standings. As for the Eastern Conference, like I said, I think Joel Embiid is going to be a monster this year. I think he's going to be a middle finger to all the haters and all the doubters that said he doesn't deserve to be MVP. Well, here he goes. He's going to have an incredible year. The 76ers, I have as the best team in the Eastern Conference. Coming behind them is the Bucks, always a good team to root for, somewhere around 2 through 5 in the Eastern Conference every single year. Giannis still can't shoot the basketball. Coming right behind them is the Celtics. I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back. Someday, Jason Tatum could be the best player in the league. Jaylen Brown would be the perfect running mate. They have a lot of great talent on their team. Malcolm Brogdon was a sneaky good pickup. Marcus Smart, of course. Grant Williams going to be up for contract extension, but he's playing really well. Al Horford, of course. Is Robert Williams going to stay healthy? And then their head coach situation is an So yes, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but Jason Tatum didn't quite put them over the top, didn't quite impress. And I think with the new head coach, all the roster changes, the front office changes, the turmoil that's going on, I'm a little worried about how the Celtics come out of the gate this season. Cavaliers right behind them, though. Spider Mitchell is a dog. I love the pickup in theory. The Sexland backcourt is gone, but they still have their size issues. Now they have 2 6-foot guards instead of 2 6-foot guards, but Spider Mitchell is still an upgrade over Colin Sexton. JB Bickerstaff, I think he's going to do a heck of a job coaching up this team. Evan Mobley's got another year under his belt. Jared Allen's going to be impressive. Caris LeVert going to be good for them off the bench. Ricky Rubio is healthy. Ricky Rubio is back. Isaac Okoro does need to step up. They didn't take him that high in the draft just to be a defensive stopper. So look for that. But the Cavs going to be a really fun team, and they're going to be in title contention this year, which is nice to see after the LeBron James era. Coming right behind them is the Heat. Y'all already know how the Heat is. Jimmy Buckets can get you too. The rest of the team is deep. Who's going to stay consistent? Who's going to play well for them? Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent. Who's the other guy? Max Strus, Bam Adebayo. I mean, you know who the Heat are. Hawks coming in at 6. My issue with them is instead of getting a great wing player to complement the ball-dominant point guard Trae Young, you got the ball-dominant point guard in DeJounte Murray. Okay, I understand he plays defense, but now you have 2 point guards on the team. I think it's going to be a little bit of a figuring out problem. Something similar to what the Nets had to do with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, but to a lesser extent. I think they're still going to be a good team, but I just don't love the team. What is John Collins going to be? Clint Capella is DeAndre Hunter. Can he stay healthy and improve? Because a lot of people are saying, this is it. We know who you are. You're a 3-and-D at best kind of player, and you get injured all the time. Bulls coming in right behind them. Lonzo Ball's gone for the season. Again, they're probably the most fun team in the Eastern Conference just because DeMar DeRozan's such a feel-good player to root for. Zach LaVine got a Supermax extension. Vooch is here. Patrick Williams, all the issues going on with him. I like the Bulls in theory. I just never loved the pickups. I think they always aspired to be a round 1, round 2 exit, and this is where they're going to fall in the 7th seed. Coming in right behind them is the Raptors, and they're stuck in that weird spot now. Too good to tank, not good enough to win with championships. Scotty Barnes was a great pickup for them last season, but I feel like they should have gone for the tank a few more years if they wanted legitimate title contention chances. Fred VanVleet's going to be a really good player for them, but he's this undersized scoring guard. What else do they have behind him? OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, just a whole bunch of, they're pretty good players. And Nick Nurse is a good coach. He's not going to let them lose too many games in a row. So the Raptors are going to fall right here, kind of in that 500. Oof, you don't want to be here tier in the NBA. Nets coming in at 9. I don't know what's going on with this team. Neither do you. It's just a mess. So I'm going to put them right where they were last season. They're going to have some turmoil. Is Kyrie Irving going to get traded away? Is Kevin Durant going to get traded away? Who knows what's going on with the Nets? Wizards coming in right behind them at the 10 seed. I know, the Wizards are a 10 seed. Typical. Bradley Beal signed the most lucrative, no trade clause ever contract in the history of basketball for a guy who every single Wizard fan wanted off the team. Holy crap. I can't tell you how many Wizard posts I see about saying, please, dear God, don't sign Bradley Beal. Please, dear God, trade away Bradley Beal. Well, he's here for another 5 seasons with the no trade clause. On the outside looking in is the Knicks. Coach Thibodeau will always make young teams look really good through effort and intensity. And he's always going to screw up a good thing that they have going here. Just signed Jalen Brunson, and those wind sprints that they're doing in December are going to exhaust them by the time April comes by. At some point, we need to stop hiring Tom Thibodeau to be a head coach. That's it. And then we'll see what the Knicks are. Even then, I still don't love the roster. Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickly, Evan Fournier. Ugh, look at that contract. Julius Randle, what is he going to be? Is he going to be the 2 years ago Knicks ball dominant Julius Randle where he was dropping 25 a night? Or is it going to be last year where he was the Knicks ball dominant Julius Randle dropping 17 a night inefficiently, dribbling the air to the ball and jacking up a horrible fadeaway shot that he misses with 2 seconds left on the shot clock? Pistons coming in right behind them. Being completely honest, I love this team. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Sadiq Bey. I mean, I love what's going on in Detroit right now. They just need to keep the core together, develop for a few years, bring in a superstar head coach, and this team is going to be competitive for a long time. Pacers right behind them. They're still rebuilding, but they got some fun things going on. Jalen Smith finally found a home where he can play well. Tyrese Halliburton, Ben Mathurin is going to be a nice player for them. They just need to continue to pick up assets and rebuild. Magic, they're going to be a fun team to root for. Franz Wagner was a feel-good story. Jalen Suggs was the disappointing story. Now they got Paolo Banchero. Is Markelle Fultz ever going to be healthy? Can Cole Anthony play point guard instead of just score the ball all the time? Mo Bamba resigned even though nobody wanted him. I mean, they got a lot of fun players on the roster. I just don't think they're going to be very good yet. We'll see how they are 2, 3, 4 years down the road with the players and how they develop. I like what Jamal Mosley's doing at this point. I want to see continued development and progression from the rest of the players. And the Hornets are coming in last because nothing good ever happens to this franchise. James Bouknight just went to jail for a DWI. Miles Bridges, y'all already know. LaMelo Ball is a good enough player, but he's not good enough to elevate this team to superstardom. I think the rest of the team is battered, shattered. I hate the Steve Clifford signing. I just don't like anything that's going on besides LaMelo Ball for this team. I think it's going to be a rough couple of years, but hopefully now that James Borrego is out of the way, they'll start playing their rookies. James Bouknight, if he's not in jail. Ty Jones, Mark Williams can be the center that they've been looking for years. Even JT Thor, give him some minutes. Just start playing your younger guys. See what you have here. You're still a young rebuilding team, and you're going to have to start over because you lost the potential running mate that was going to elevate this team in Miles Bridges. So that is the Eastern Conference, and this is how the playoffs are going to play out with these standings. It's going to be Pelicans, Blazers, Lakers, Timberwolves, Raptors, Bulls, Nets, Wizards. Now, I'm going to have the Lakers upset the Timberwolves in the play-in tournament, and I'm going to have the Pelicans beat the Blazers just because I never have faith in what happens to the Blazers because they always seem to disappoint you in the playoffs. And the Pelicans, who knows what they're going to be, but they played competitive against the Suns. I think they would be more than capable of beating the Portland Trail Blazers in a one-game playoff. Raptors versus Bulls. I'm going to take the Bulls just because I don't know what the Raptors are going to be at this point in the season. Nets versus Wizards. I guess we'll take the Nets. Moving on to the next round of the Blazers versus the Lakers. And I think the Blazers would beat the Lakers because the Lakers continue to disappoint. LeBron James is old. Is Anthony Davis going to play? What is Russell Westbrook? Is Darvin Ham a good coach? Too many questions there for me to pick them to make the playoffs. And on the other side, I'll take the Nets once again to beat the Raptors. And this will be your full seeding for the playoffs. Warriors, Blazers, Nuggets, Mavericks, Grizzlies, Suns, Pelicans, Clippers. On the other side, 76ers, Nets, Cavs, Heat, Celtics, Hawks, Bucks, Bulls. Started for the Western Conference, I'll just take the Warriors to take the Blazers. We've shown and we've seen through history that Steph Curry is better than Damian Lillard. The Warriors are a better run franchise than the Trailblazers, period. Nuggets versus Mavericks is going to be a really fun series. The question is, who is healthy? Luka Doncic has proved that he can lead a team to the Western Conference Finals basically by himself with a whole bunch of role players. Is the Nuggets going to have a healthy, fully maxed out Jamal Murray? Or is Michael Porter Jr. going to go down with an inexplicable back injury yet again? I'm just taking Luka because I know that he's going to be at least there to be consistent. Grizzlies versus Suns would be a really good series, but I'm going to take the Grizz. Like I said, I think the Suns take a step back. Clippers versus Pelicans, another really fun series. One team has age and experience on their side. The other team is young and a whole bunch of question marks still. On the other side, 76ers, I said they're the best team in the NBA. Cavs versus the Heat would be a heck of a matchup to watch. I think the top end talent of the Cavaliers outlasts the Heat. Jimmy Buckets can get you 2, but the rest of this team, I think Tyler Hero isn't as good as Donovan Mitchell. I think Darius Garland is better than Kyle Lowry at this point in their careers. I think Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are better than Bam Adebayo and whoever the Heat play at the power forward. So I'm going to take the Cavaliers to make it to the second round. Hawks versus Celtics. Too many question marks on the Hawks right now. I'm going to take the Celtics, even though they have their issues as well. And Bucks versus Bulls. I've already voiced enough times about how worried I am about the Chicago Bulls being really competitive. Warriors versus Mavs, we saw this play out last time. Warriors are going to beat the Mavericks, period. Clippers versus Grizzlies is going to be a really fun series. Who is the healthier team? Will John Morant still be healthy at this point? Will the supporting cast be good enough? Will Kawhi Leonard play basketball? Period. Regardless, I'm going to take the Clippers just because I like what they're doing out there in Los Angeles. I'll assume that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are healthy and the rest of the team is so deep and so competitive. Ty Lue, heck of a coach. 76ers, I'm just taking because I think they're the best team. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, I think they just got too much talent. They're going to overwhelm the Cavaliers, even though their head coach is Doc Rivers. Bucks versus Celtics, a super fun matchup. I just think at the end of the day, the Bucks have less question marks. We know exactly who they are, which is like the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Going on to the conference finals, Warriors versus Clippers. I would love to watch a 7-game series here. I'm going to take the Warriors just because They're more consistent. They've been doing it for so long, and they're the best team in the NBA, in my opinion. But that would be a heck of a matchup to watch in the Western Conference. 76ers versus Bucks. Like I said, I think Joel Embiid puts a stamp on this season and says, I am the best player in the NBA, period. And that gives us to a Warriors 76ers finals. And you know what? I've been saying it for the entire video. I think Joel Embiid says, I'm the best damn player in the NBA, and he outlasts the Warriors with the supporting cast. James Harden gets his first ring. Tyrese Maxey takes that next step, balls out. I think the Philadelphia 76ers become NBA champions, and that is the full season predictions for the 2022-2023 NBA season. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you agree with, what you disagree with. I think Joel Embiid runs away with this year and cements himself as the best center, the best player in the NBA. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.